When a Sigma male distances himself emotionally, people often mistake it for weakness, silence, disinterest, or cold detachment. But what they never realize is that his emotional distance is not absence, it's strategy. While others react, he observes. While others drown in drama, he gathers information. The Sigma male doesn't fight battles with noise. He wins them with control. His strength lies in restraint, in mastering the art of staying calm when others need chaos to feel powerful. He knows that emotion clouds judgment, and attachment distorts truth. So instead of arguing, he studies. Instead of explaining, he plans. His quiet detachment isn't withdrawal, it's the weapon that allows him to win without lifting a sword. This isn't a story about apathy, it's about precision. The Sigma male uses emotional distance to turn every loss into leverage, every rejection into redirection, and every confrontation into clarity. Subscribe to UltraWise for more deep dives into the mindset, psychology, and silent power of the Sigma male. And tell me in the comments, do you think emotional distance is a shield or a sign of ultimate control? The power of emotional non-reaction. That Sigma male's greatest weapon isn't aggression, it's stillness. In a world addicted to reactions, he has mastered the art of emotional restraint. Where others explode, defend, or explain, he remains unreadable. His calm unnerves people because they can't find a weakness to exploit. They push, provoke, and test his limits. But the more pressure they apply, the quieter he becomes. What they don't understand is that his silence isn't passivity. It's power being calculated in real time. He's learned that emotional reaction is the fastest way to lose control. The moment you react, you hand over your power, your energy, your focus, your peace to someone else's agenda. So the Sigma male refuses to play that game. He doesn't need to prove his dominance through words or volume. He wins by staying centered while everyone else burns energy, trying to get a rise out of him. When faced with conflict, he doesn't rush to respond. He observes body language, tone, inconsistencies, everything that reveals a person's true intent. While they try to get emotional validation, he's collecting data. His mind stays cool, detached, strategic. The moment he senses manipulation or chaos, he disconnects his emotions from the outcome. Because to him, control isn't about overpowering others, it's about never being pulled into their emotional gravity. This non-reaction terrifies manipulators and confuses narcissists. They feed on emotional chaos, and his calm starves them. They can't win against someone who refuses to play their emotional game. Even in relationships, this trait protects him. When others use guilt or drama to control, he meets it with quiet boundaries. No yelling, no begging, no pleading, just silence and distance. Over time, people learn that provoking him is pointless. His calm becomes a wall they can't climb. And that's where his true victory lies, not in the argument, but in the energy exchange he never allowed to happen. His emotional non-reaction isn't indifference, it's self-mastery. Because while the world confuses silence with weakness, the Sigma male knows that silence, when controlled, is the loudest declaration of power. Observation as silent warfare. Every Sigma male knows that the loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. It's the one who's watching. Observation is his weapon, and silence is his camouflage. While others rush to prove themselves through words and reactions, he studies patterns, micro-expressions, timing, and tone. He listens not to respond, but to map the terrain of human behavior. Every detail, every inconsistency becomes a data point. In his world, information is ammunition, and he collects it without ever revealing that he's armed. He's learned that most battles are won before they're even fought, simply by understanding the opponent's psychology. The Sigma male doesn't argue, he analyzes. When someone insults him, he studies why. When someone flatters him, He studies what they want. His calm detachment gives him a panoramic view of human intention, something the emotionally impulsive will never possess. While others burn themselves out chasing dominance, he sits quietly, letting people expose themselves with their own behavior. As silence isn't emptiness, it's a mirror. When you speak to him, you often end up revealing more than you planned. That's the essence of his silent warfare, letting others underestimate him while he reads them like an open book. The manipulator thinks he's in control. The Sigma male just lets him believe it, until he uses that knowledge to turn the entire situation in his favor. Even in conflict, he doesn't need to raise his voice. His composure is the threat. The lack of emotional leakage makes him unpredictable, unreadable, and therefore untouchable. People can't fight what they can't measure. They throw words, guilt, emotion, and get nothing back. His quiet observation slowly dismantles their confidence, because nothing is more unsettling than being watched by someone you can't affect. For the Sigma male, observation isn't passive, it's tactical patience. Every silence, every pause, every unspoken thought is a move on an invisible chessboard. While others are busy reacting, he's already 6 steps ahead, orchestrating outcomes through understanding, not aggression. Because he knows one timeless truth: the man who watches long enough never needs to fight loudly. He simply wins intelligently. Emotional economy, spending energy with precision. For the Sigma male, emotion is currency, and he's learned never to spend it recklessly. Every outburst, every argument, every unnecessary explanation comes with a cost. So he guards his emotional energy like a disciplined investor. He no longer reacts just to prove he's right or to soothe someone else's ego. Instead, he calculates, is this worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. And that's how he stays ahead, not by fighting harder, but by conserving strength for the battles that matter. In his world, emotional control isn't suppression, it's strategy. He's felt what it's like to waste energy on people who don't listen, on conflicts that go nowhere, on relationships that drain more than they give. Those experiences trained him to see energy as limited fuel. Every word, every gesture, every ounce of emotional attention now has purpose. If something doesn't serve his growth or peace, he withdraws his investment without guilt. People often misunderstand this economy as detachment or coldness, but it's actually discipline, emotional minimalism. The Sigma male doesn't run from feeling, he filters it. He channels emotion into results, not reactions. Pain becomes clarity. Anger becomes focus. Disappointment becomes strategy. Every emotion is redirected towards something productive, leaving no room for emotional waste. When others try to provoke him, they find no return on their effort. His calm disarms them. His restraint frustrates them, and his silence exposes their dependency on chaos. This is his greatest advantage: his ability to remain composed when everyone else is overspending emotionally. He knows that whoever controls their energy controls the outcome. In relationships, this emotional economy makes him both magnetic and mysterious. He gives deeply, but selectively. He listens fully, but only to those who've earned it. His love, attention, and empathy are no longer charity. They're investments, and that makes them powerful. The Sigma male's emotional economy is his invisible armor, a balance between feeling and focus that few ever master. Because while others exhaust themselves trying to be understood, he thrives in silence, conserving emotional energy for creation, not reaction. That's how he wins. Not by being emotionless, but by spending emotion like a strategist, not a gambler. The strategic pause before every response. The Sigma male's power doesn't come from what he says, it comes from when he chooses to speak. His silence before responding isn't hesitation, it's calculation. That pause. the few seconds that stretch like eternity to others, is where he wins the battle. While everyone else rushes to react, defending, attacking, or explaining, he waits. He observes how emotions shift, how words land, how truth reveals itself in discomfort. That stillness is not weakness, it's command. In those moments of silence, his mind sharpens. He's scanning tone, body language, and hidden intent. He's not just hearing the words, he's dissecting them. Is this person seeking truth or validation, conflict or control? He knows that most arguments are emotional traps, designed to pull him into impulsive reactions where logic dies. So he lets silence do the work. It confuses manipulators, unnerves aggressors, and exposes insecurity, because when people can't provoke him, they start revealing themselves instead. The Sigma male learned this skill the hard way. He's been in situations where instant reactions cost him clarity, where anger or defense handed power to others. So, he rewired his instincts. Now, before every response, he pauses just long enough for emotion to settle and logic to surface. That pause is his filter. It separates truth from impulse, intention from manipulation. It ensures that every word he speaks lands with precision, not noise. To outsiders, this silence feels intimidating. They interpret it as arrogance or disinterest, but it's actually restraint. The Sigma male understands that power doesn't come from dominating a conversation. It comes from controlling the tempo of it. He dictates rhythm through patience. His responses are few, but surgical. He knows exactly when to engage, and when to let silence destroy what words cannot. This pause is more than emotional discipline, it's strategy. It's how he keeps his composure while others unravel. It's how he turns conflict into observation, chaos into insight. In a world addicted to immediacy, his patience feels like power. Because it is power. The Sigma male doesn't speak to win arguments, he speaks to end them. And that's why his silence before every response isn't an absence of thought, it's the birth of control, turning detachment into influence. For the Sigma male, emotional detachment isn't a wall, it's leverage. While most people try to gain influence by being louder, friendlier, or more visible, he does the opposite. He steps back, he creates distance, and in that silence, power shifts toward him. People can't read him, can't predict him, can't manipulate him. His lack of emotional dependency makes him impossible to control, and that unpredictability becomes magnetic. Everyone wants to understand the man who doesn't need to be understood. He's mastered the psychology of absence. The Sigma male knows that emotional distance draws attention more effectively than any speech or display. When others beg for approval, he withholds it. When others over-explain, he simply observes. That restraint creates intrigue, a quiet authority that commands respect without effort. His calm detachment tells people, "I'm not seeking your validation, I'm evaluating your value." And that subtle shift turns power dynamics upside down. Detachment gives him perspective. It allows him to see through manipulation, social games, and emotional traps. He doesn't need to dominate conversations. His silence does it for him. People start adjusting their tone around him, choosing their words more carefully, trying harder to earn his attention. What they don't realize is that he's already influencing them, not through force, but through control of his presence. This emotional distance also protects him from burnout, because he doesn't get attached to outcomes. He stays composed under pressure. Whether it's business, relationships, or conflict, he wins by staying focused while others are blinded by emotion. His calm is contagious. It destabilizes chaos. It forces others to slow down and match his pace. And once they do, they're already playing his game. And Sigma male's influence isn't built on charm. It's built on control. Detachment keeps him immune to manipulation and indifferent to approval. It allows him to move like a ghost, unseen until he chooses to be felt. And when he finally acts or speaks, the impact is amplified by the silence that came before it. That's the paradox of his power. The less he chases control, the more of it he naturally commands. Because in a world addicted to attention, the one who doesn't need it owns it. Control through absence. The Sigma male doesn't fight for control, he creates it through absence. While most people use words, dominance, or persuasion to gain influence, he uses the one thing that no one expects: disengagement. His withdrawal isn't emotional weakness, it's psychological leverage. When he walks away, everything he leaves behind begins to shift. Energy, attention, power dynamics. His absence echoes louder than anyone else's presence because it forces people to face what they took for granted. He's learned that presence is energy and energy is currency. When he removes his, everything recalibrates. The conversation loses momentum, the manipulator loses control, the relationship loses comfort. His silence creates a void that others rush to fill, explaining, apologizing, overcompensating, all because he's no longer emotionally available to play their game. That's how he wins, by letting absence do the work that confrontation never could. This strategy comes from experience. The Sigma male has seen that in most situations, overexposure dilutes power. The more you explain, the more they dismiss. The more you chase, the more they withdraw. So he flips the script. Instead of demanding attention, he removes it. Calmly, without drama, without announcement. People start noticing the weight of his quiet. They start realizing that his presence was a stabilizing force. That's when control quietly shifts in his favor. Absence isn't indifference, it's recalibration. It allows him to observe the reaction his silence provokes. Does the other person show remorse or manipulation, patience or panic? Their response tells him everything he needs to know. And when he does decide to return, he does so from a position of strength, composed, centered, and fully in control of the energy in the room. The power of absence lies in its finality. It teaches others that his attention cannot be demanded, only earned. That his energy is not a guarantee, but a privilege. And that once he withdraws emotionally, no amount of persuasion can bring him back. For the Sigma male, control isn't about domination. It's about mastery of presence and absence. He doesn't win because he stays. He wins because when he leaves, the world around him feels the imbalance and suddenly remembers who held the real power all along. Reading emotion without absorbing it. The Sigma male's mind operates like a finely tuned radar. It picks up emotional frequencies long before others even register them. He can read the tension in a room, sense resentment hidden behind politeness, and recognize manipulation disguised as charm. But unlike most empathic people, he doesn't drown in what he detects. He observes without absorbing, decodes without internalizing. His sensitivity is intellectual, not reactive, without internalizing. His eccentricity is intellectual, not reactive. That's what makes him different and dangerous. There was a time when he absorbed everything, every mood, every emotion, every silent pain around him became his own. He mistook emotional awareness for obligation, thinking understanding someone meant carrying their weight. But that empathy came with a cost. It left him drained, scattered, and detached from himself. So he learned the difference between feeling for someone and feeling as them. He stopped letting other people's storms flood his calm. Now, when emotions enter his space, he reads them like data, objectively, precisely, without bias. If someone's words are kind but their energy is sharp, he trusts the energy. If someone tries to provoke him emotionally, he recognizes it as a tactic. His awareness is surgical. He can spot fear in arrogance, insecurity in anger, need in manipulation. but he doesn't absorb any of it. He lets emotion pass through him like wind through an open corridor, acknowledged, analyzed, but never retained. This detachment doesn't make him unfeeling, it makes him unshakable. Because while others are busy reacting to emotion, he's studying the architecture of it. He can calm chaos without absorbing it, comfort others without losing himself, and walk through conflict without carrying its residue. His empathy becomes wisdom, detached but aware, compassionate but protected. People often mistake his composure for indifference, not realizing it's the result of emotional mastery. The Sigma male feels everything, he just chooses what to keep. That discipline makes his presence grounding. He stabilizes any room he walks into because nothing can pull him off balance. By reading emotion without absorbing it, he maintains clarity in a world of noise. He's the observer who understands everything, but gives nothing away. Because real, emotional intelligence isn't about feeling more. It's about knowing exactly what not to take personal. The victory of internal equilibrium. At the end of every silent battle, when the noise fades and the masks fall, the Sigma male stands alone, not in defeat, but in balance. His greatest victory isn't over others, it's over his own emotional instability. He's mastered the one battlefield most men avoid, the inner world. While others chase validation, revenge, or control, he chases equilibrium. That calm center inside him has become his fortress, a space where no insult, manipulation, or betrayal can reach. Getting there wasn't easy. He had to unlearn everything the world taught him about strength. He discovered that dominance built on reaction is fragile, that loud power is insecure, and that peace is the highest form of control. Through disappointment, solitude, and betrayal, he learned how to manage both fire and water, emotion and logic, without letting either consume him. Every setback refined his composure. Every conflict taught him detachment. Every loss became a test of how deeply he could stay centered when everything outside tried to shake him. Now, his equilibrium is his signature. He doesn't chase highs or fear lows. He operates from a steady middle ground. You can't provoke him into rage nor seduce him into distraction. His emotions don't control him, they inform him. He feels fully, but chooses response over reaction every single time. And that choice, repeated over years, has turned into unbreakable calm. This balance radiates silently. It makes others trust him instinctively, even if they don't understand why. In chaos, he's the still point. In conflict, he's the observer. His energy doesn't fluctuate with external validation because his worth no longer depends on it. He knows exactly who he is, and that self-assurance bends reality in his favor. That's the final form of the Sigma male, a man whose peace cannot be stolen because it was built from within. He doesn't win every battle by force, but by outlasting the storm. And when the dust settles, he's still standing, calm, focused, unbothered. Because the ultimate victory isn't control over others, it's mastery over yourself. And once a Sigma male achieves internal equilibrium, no chaos, no betrayal, no power play can ever touch him again. In the end, the Sigma male's greatest victories aren't loud, they're invisible. He doesn't win through domination or noise. He wins through discipline. Emotional distance isn't his escape, it's his edge. While others react, he calculates. While others crave validation, he cultivates control. And that's why he always comes out ahead. Not because he overpowers others, but because he never lets them pull him off balance. His calm is his weapon, his silence is his defense. And his emotional distance is his freedom. He's not cold, he's clear. He's not detached, he's focused. The Sigma male doesn't just survive the chaos of life, he thrives in it because his power doesn't depend on the world. It comes from within. If this message resonates with how you see yourself, if you've learned that emotional control is the ultimate strength, then you already walk the Sigma path. Subscribe to UltraWise for more deep, cinematic breakdowns of Sigma psychology and mindset evolution. And tell me in the comments, do you think emotional distance protects you or transforms you?